Look, dating inside the church is complicated. Guys, welcome to my YouTube channel again. All right, if you haven't done it yet, make sure to subscribe, hit that church bell so that way you get the notification anytime a brand new video pops on. If this video was helpful, give me a thumbs up. And if there's a question that I did not answer, make sure to drop it in the comment section below. So today's a good one because as a pastor, I've been, youth pastor, and I've grown up in the church. This one's a fun question. Is like, listen, should Christians date other Christians inside of the church? And my question to that one is a lot of times, like when kids and other people tell me stuff, I usually say, look, well, there's a yes and a no to that. Can Christians date other Christians inside the church? Of course they can. All right. Should they? Ought they? There we go. That's a little bit more of a conversation. That's the question that you really need to be asking in order to, find out if this is a decision that you need to, move forward in. And so can we? Yes. Should we? It depends on your motivations. This is why I always love to ask the question when somebody asks me, can I do this? I was like, well, why would you want to? Why do you want to date so and so? Why do you want to date them? That's a question that I always ask. And I want you guys to understand that when it comes to any form of behavior between Christians and other Christians inside the church, we got to understand Jesus' heart for the church, all right? Jesus' heart is for unity, all right? No matter what, all right, all of the decisions that we make, all right, we are called to love one another. And that commandment, yes, is for all of those outside of the church, but it's primarily for those inside. Christ prioritizes making sure that, listen, you got to make sure as a church, you guys must model what this love looks like, all right? Because the world will see when you love each other in this way, when you shine your light, the world will know. They will know you are my disciples for when you love one another. That one another was internal, all right? Because when you can love one another this way, then it's a habit that you build outside when you leave the church or when you are not with your church community, all right? So no matter what, this is the goal. If you want to date somebody inside the church, then you have to prioritize what Christ prioritizes. The individual, but also the unity of the church. Anything that is done that can break that up or cause disunity or division or dissonance, discord, all right, issues, problems inside of the church, those are things that we need to avoid. In fact, let me read something that I think would help. This is Paul talking to a young man in 2 Timothy, or his name is Timothy. His second letter to Timothy, chapter 2, verse 22. Here's what he says. He says, flee youthful passions, all right? Flee youthful passions and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who call on the name of the Lord from a pure heart. Okay? So, flee youthful passions. See, this is something that I think it's interesting because number one, he is saying what we ought to be against, but Paul is also affirming what we should be for, all right? It's one thing to say, look, run from this, all right? But he's saying run from this, but run towards this. I love that image that he gives there because if we don't know where we're running towards, how do we know we're getting any better? And so in this case, what is he saying we run from? Run from youthful passions. And what are youthful passions? Listen, if you're young enough, look, you don't even have to be. You could be old and still, all right, think in this way. Youthful passions are selfish, right? You don't have to teach a kid at a young age to be selfish, all right? One of the first words that a baby can learn how to say is mine, right? And so youthful passions are, I want this, I need this, and you run on your desires to meet your own needs. So when you are trying to date somebody, if you want to date somebody inside the church, you got to check yourself and making sure, is this a youthful passion? Do I just want to be with this person because of the clout that I get for being with her, being with him? Do I want to be with this individual because I'm lonely and I need someone in my life? Do I want to be with this person because if I'm with this person, man, they're going to make me feel special? And so listen, those are all questions. And all of those, all right, if you can be honest, those are all selfish in nature. You are not considerate of the other person. You are just wanting to fulfill certain desires in your life. All right, and one of the things that I say, regardless of who you're dating with, you should leave that person. If for whatever reason y'all date and don't marry, that person should be a better person for having been with you. All right, you don't want to leave a person in a worse condition than you found them. You should leave them better than when you found them. All right, that's to me the goal for dating. That if we modeled that and we tried that, I think we'd have a whole lot less broken hearts and less issues. But So here he said, listen, you want to make sure you're not doing things selfishly, but instead, what did he say? Pursue righteousness, faith, love. I love this, and peace. Peace, especially among those. Notice that we're supposed to be this way towards everybody as Christians, but we're supposed to be even extra with other Christians. We're supposed to be even extra with other Christians. And so when it comes to dating, this is, I believe, the goal that we would pursue. If you're gonna date somebody inside, all right, cool. Then are you doing it in a righteous way? Are you doing things in a way that will honor God and honor that individual, right? Not yourself. Are you doing it in faith? Are you including God in the conversation? Are you saying, Lord, should I, can I, ought we? Is there love there? And again, love for them, not for yourself. And again, peace, that no matter what you are looking to, you want to be, all right, and establish peace in that community, in that relationship, in their life. And so here's a question that I want to ask you. So if you're thinking about, you got that cutie that you want to be with, you want to kind of, shoot your shot, slide to the DM and see what's going to happen there. Let me ask you this question, okay? So if somebody asks, say, all right, Pastor, can I date someone? Can I date someone inside the church? Can Christians date someone inside the church? Well, here's my question that I'm going to ask you. Aside from, well, why would you want to date that person? Here's really the big question. I want you to answer this one and remember this one next time, okay? Are you willing to leave the church? Okay? If you're willing to date someone inside the church, then you need to be willing to leave that church. Why do I say that? Listen, I've grown up in it. I've seen it, as me and my wife can attest to, all right? Especially being in youth groups for so long, right? And being in church for so long and then being a youth pastor, I see it. And hey, with adults, I see it too, right? If you're willing to date someone inside the church, you need to be willing to leave that church, because if something goes down, if something goes south, all right, one, if not both of you, will end up leaving. I see it all the time. I've seen it all the time, because if something didn't go right and now you see that person and that's emotionally triggered, or then now you got your camps inside of church, like, oh yeah, that person did you dirty, oh man, this and that. And then that is no longer unity there. And there's a lot of people who will leave the church because the relationship was so problematic or stressful that they would rather just abandon and just walk away than to constantly be affected by the presence of that individual. So that's my question that I'm going to ask you, okay? If you want to date somebody inside the church, then are you willing to leave the church you are currently in? Because if things don't work out and you didn't do everything, all right, accordingly, properly, then one, if not both of you, will end up leaving. And so in the end, this is why I'm telling you, in the end, we need to constantly pursue love, Christ, not our selfish, youthful desires, but honestly, in the end, we need to be pursuing and honoring Christ. And listen, when you trust in Him, He will lead you. He will lead you in the right way, and He'll lead you to do things in the correct way. Look, I dated somebody inside the church and ended up marrying them. Made a ton of mistakes though, all right? But it is possible. I'm not saying you can't do it, but you gotta be careful with your motivation, and you gotta understand what's at stake. Because if things don't go well, if things don't work out, one, if not both of you, will end up leaving. And I don't know if that's a sacrifice that you're willing to take. So with that, guys, make sure to keep your emotions in check. And hey, remember this, a relationship with Christ impacts all other relationships. And so the greater relationship you have with Christ, all right, the more He will guide you into what to do, how to do, all those things. So I want to challenge you and encourage you, all right, the most important relationship you need to always prioritize, whether you're dating, married, or single, is the one that you have with Christ, because that relationship can impact and does impact every other relationship in a great way. And all you have to do is put your trust and confidence in Christ. Doesn't mean you have to believe everything right out the gate, but it's understanding that who He is, that Jesus died for your sins, and then hey, there's something special about Him, and He invites you to follow, and He will show you the rest of the way. He will help you with your struggles, with your doubts, and all those other questions, all right? So He's inviting you to follow, have faith.